Quarter 3, week 3, day 1, we are finding the quotient. Again, we just take this 5 and make it 5 over 1. So it's going to stay as 5 over 1. The division sign turns to a multiplication sign, and it becomes 8 over 7. Okay, we do the multiplicative inverse, or the reciprocal, however you want to call it. So let's see, can we cross-reduce anything? Is there anything we can go that goes into both 1 and 8? Just 1, so it's not going to change anything. How about 5 and 7? Nope, nothing we can do with that either. So let's just multiply across. 5 times 8 is 40. 1 times 7 is 7. All right, how many times does 7 go into 40? Well, 7 times 6 is 42, so it's going to have to be 7 times 5. So there's 5 groups of 7 out of 40. 7 times 5 is 35. There's 5 left over. Okay, if we take 35 away from 40, and then we have 5 sevenths. So the answer is 5 and 5 sevenths when we find the quotient for these fractions. Next, we are going to find the difference, and we are using difference, which means that's subtraction. All right, so that makes sense. So then we have to line up the decimals. So we have 40.574, and then we have to line up the decimals here, 8.09, and subtract. All right, we can put a 0 here just to kind of make it, a little more visually pleasing, I guess. 4 minus 0 is 4. Cannot take away 9 from 7. Okay, so we can have to borrow for the 5, make it a 4, 17. So we have 17 minus 9 would be what? Is that 8? 17 minus 9 is 8, yep. So then we have 4 minus 0 is 4. Can't take away 8 from 0, so we're going to have to borrow here, make this a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2, and then we have 3. Bring down the decimal. The answer is 32.484. That's the difference. Write the ratio in simplest form. All right, so let's find what is the biggest number that can divide into both 12 and 3. Well, here's all the numbers that divide into 12. Here's all the numbers that divide into 3. What's the biggest number that's in both of these lists? The number 3, right? So, at this point, what we'll do is we'll just divide both 12 and 3 by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And there's your answer. So the ratio in simplest form is 4 to 1. Robert is purchasing some chicken from the supermarket. The first pack of chicken weighs 45 ounces. Okay, so that's one of the packs. The other one weighs 3 pounds. Well, you couldn't compare ounces to ounces or pounds to pounds. You have to do something where you end up having to convert it, right? So, all right, so that's good. So I did show right here that 1 pound is 16 ounces. So to get to 3 pounds, we can find out how many ounces that is, right? So to get from 1 to 3, you have to multiply by 3. So this is times 3. So of course you're going to do the same thing with the 16 ounces, and then you have 16 times 3, which gives you 48 ounces. I'm going to abbreviate it here. All right, so the 3 pounds is 48 ounces. The other one is 45 ounces. So at this point, we could pretty much stop. And we know that the one that's 3 pounds or 48 ounces, okay, is going to be the answer. Which pack weighs more? The one that is 3 pounds or 48 ounces. All right. You could have also compared, instead of going from 1 to 3 pounds, you could have gone from 16 ounces to 45 ounces to see if that was larger than 3, right? You could have compared it that way. But I think this one's probably the easier way to go. But either one would have worked. What is the value of 12? And then in parentheses, 3x plus 5x when x equals 7. Okay, well, let's rewrite it. We have 12 times 3 times 7. So we'll put those in like little sub-parentheses, plus 5 times 7, okay, in parentheses. All right, so we have to do that. We just plugged in the 7 for each one of those. All right, so let's do 3 times 7. 3 times 7 is 21. 5 times 7 is 35. Okay, so we did all the stuff in parentheses there, so we're done with this. Then we have to do 12 times everything in the parentheses. Well, again, we have to do parentheses first. So 21 and 35 is going to be 56. And then you're going to do 56 times 12. So what is 56 times 12? All right, 6 times 2 is 12. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 more is 11. And then we have this space there. We do 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 5 is 5. Add those up. So we have 2, 7, 6. 672 is our answer if you put in 7 for x. So there you go. List 3 values that would make this inequality true. And we know it's an inequality because it has a greater than or less than sign. This particular one has a little line underneath it, which means it's less than or equal to. So it's 12 is less than or equal to 7 plus n. So we have to find out what n is. Okay, so again, we do this several times. So make sure you're listening very closely if you're not catching on yet. Okay, because it's not too difficult. You just have to make sure that you're paying close attention to how you solve it. Okay, so we have 12 is less than or equal to 7 plus n. We need to get rid of this 7 to get n by itself, okay, on this side of the inequality sign, right? So we need to get n by itself. All right, so if you have $7, if you want to get down to $0, what do you have to do with that 7? Well, you have to subtract it, right? So you have to subtract 7 from 7. A positive 7 and a negative 7 ends up being nothing, right? It ends up just being 0. So the only thing left on this side of the inequality is the letter n. Okay, but you have to subtract 7 from the other side too. Okay, and then we have 12 minus 7, and that equals 5. So 5 is less than or equal to n. And a lot of times I like to recommend putting the variable first. N is, and then you have to change the direction of the inequality sign because it has to be kind of the same scenario as this. So you just take everything and flip it the other direction. N is greater than or equal to 5, which means the possible answers here could be 5, right? Because it could be equal to 5. And then what are numbers that are greater than 5? Well, it could be 9, it could be 124. Okay, basically, it's any number that is 5 or more. So it could be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Basically on for eternity. So any 3 numbers that are 5 or bigger, it would work for this. Cassandra is training for a 10-mile race. On the first day of training, she runs 4 miles. So on day 1, she runs 4 miles. Each day after that, she adds 0.5 miles. On what day will Cassandra run 8 miles? That's interesting. So let's do 4, and then the next day would be 4.5. And the next day would be 5. And then 5.5. We haven't run 8 miles yet, so 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, and then 8. Okay, so we got to 8. Thank goodness, right? We almost ran out of space. It says, on what day will Cassandra run 8 miles? It would be on day 9. So there's your answer for that one. Day 9 would be the 8-mile running day. Find the area of this shape. Okay, guys, again, there's so many different ways we could do this. We could possibly find this whole thing and then cut out whatever the area of this is. Okay, that would be one way we could do it, right? And then another possibility would be maybe just to kind of slice it right here and find this rectangle and this rectangle. Okay, again, another way we could possibly do it is just slice it this way, find this rectangle and this rectangle, add them together. Okay, so I'm not sure which one we want to do. Let's see. Probably the easiest one would be, well, it doesn't really matter. Let's just go horizontal with this one. All right, so this is 3 feet from here to here. We don't know what this distance is, but we know that this whole distance here is 9. This is 4. So if you take 9 minus 4, that's going to be the remainder of this distance. So this would be a 5-foot length right here. Okay, so it's going to be easy to find that. To find the area, it's just base times height. 5 times 3 is 15. So right here is 15 feet squared. Okay, so there's that. But we don't know the whole area yet until we find the area down here. Well, we have both of those numbers. We have 4 times 5, which is 20. So that's 20 feet squared. Let's see, there we go. And then we just add them together. What's 15 plus 20? 35. So the whole thing is 35 feet squared. Again, we could have done it several other ways, okay, but if we solved it this way, it's 35 feet squared, and if you do it correctly, any of the other ways, it will be 35 feet squared. All right, so there's the answer. All right, we need to find the volume. That is length times width times height. The volume is length times width times height. All right, so we can just kind of find each one of those lengths. So we have that one, and that one. Okay, so let's say the length is going to be this one here. So that's 1, 2, 3. So we have 3, and then the width is 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be 3 times 3. And then the height here is 1, 2, 3, 4. So to find the entire volume, or how many little cubes there are, okay, in this, okay, we need to do 3 times 3 times 4. So what is 3 times 3? 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so we have 9 times 4. And what is 9 times 4? 36. So this is 36 units. And remember, it's volume, so it's going to be units cubed. Oops, should not have made it that big. Units cubed. A little 3. So 36 units cubed. Okay, again, that just means there's going to be 36 little tiny cubes that basically look like this, right? Let's see if I can draw one real quick. Kind of like that, right? So 36 little cubes that look like that. All right, there's your answer for that one.